أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين. Surah Al Baqarah Ayah number 26. This ayah is very much relevant to the previous portion where it was talking about the Quran itself, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave challenge to those vicious people who did not want to humble themselves to Allah, who did not want to, and they raised question over the Quran, that what kind of book is this? Yeah, that is maybe copied from the people, or these are legends of the previous people, and so on, whatever their ideas were. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, if you think this is the case, yeah, if it's a man-made stuff, why don't you do it? And of course they failed, they couldn't do it. Now, once they have failed, once they cannot produce something that in order to challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are they going to stay quiet? This is never going to be the case. And this is normally the situation that we can all understand. When people don't have evidences, when people cannot stand up with proofs, what they're going to do, they're going to become vulgar, they're going to become aggressive, they're going to start swearing, they're going to start becoming heavy in their words. They want to accuse you now, because they don't have anything with them that they can say, here you go, this is what it is. Yeah, so we have got something better than you. Yeah, if they can't do that, then they're going to become abusive. They're going to point question in you, like why is this like this? Why is this sin? And so on. They're raising questions. So similarly, these criminals, they're saying, what kind of book is this? Why is Allah giving examples? Like previously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does give examples, yeah, of the rain and of the man who is in a desert far away and so on, yeah, who lights a fire. So Allah has given examples. So they say, what kind of book is this? Why does God need to give examples? So these questions have been raised. Now in here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put them in a place. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell them. You do not dictate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what He can and what He can't do. This is one He is going to do right from the beginning. That stay in your places basically. And second, thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give reasons, the wisdoms behind the parallels or the parables that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives. So this is what happens. And now for you to understand that the mentality of those people, that we go too many little one, yeah, that why people raise questions instead of standing up with proofs, like those people who plays games in the little ones. MashaAllah, very few of you play. Okay, those who play, the little ones, the few one. If you are in level 50 of a game, yeah, and then someone who is in level 5, and he cannot pass that level and he's struggling, and he is really hesitant, and he's doing everything but he fails. He has tried like 20 times, but he always fails in level 5. And he doesn't really like you now, yeah, because you're on level 50 and he's in level 5. So what normally happens, like, yeah, his dad must have helped him out, or maybe his big brother has helped him out, or maybe he has paid for it. That's why he was in level 50, yeah, that kind of mentality. So they raise question over your ability, yeah, this cleverness that you have, whatever you call it. But they will raise question over that, yeah. But however, if someone was on level 500, yeah, and he sees you in that level 50, would he have any problems with you? No, he will be fine, yeah. He might even give you some tips how to help you out in whatever, in this humanity work that they do, yeah. They will help you out instead. They're not going to raise question with you. They're not going to say like, you have done something bad. They know that you have done it basically, yeah, because they have already achieved that. They know what they're talking about. So same is the situation of those people when they cannot produce something. They are failures basically. Failures will be those people who will criticize. Yeah, this will be the situation the elders can understand as well in that same way. When people backbite, or they say this guy must have cheated and why is he going so far away in his business, maybe he has taken loans, and these kind of questions that they have put in people, meaning they cannot do something themselves and they also want to drag you back. So that kind of mentality. So these are the same people. When they cannot produce anything against the Quran, what they're going to say, they're going to question the Quran themselves, because they need to feed their evil conscience. They need to somehow please themselves. This idea is eating them away, that they cannot compete with the Quran. As well as their followers, they are looking at them, that why can't you do something like that? So they will raise question over the legitimacy over the Quran. So this is the same kind of attitude that's happening. Let's go to the ayah, even though there are many other things. Now basically, what we need to understand, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to speak in some sophisticated language, He could do that. He has the best of vocabularies. He has that. He knows of the sciences. He knows everything. But what is this Quran for? Who is it for? Is it for Allah? For us to know what kind of high quality of things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, His language and so on. No, we cannot understand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in true essence. That's why we only believe in the attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us. That's it. This is our limit. We don't know the true essence of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't sent the Quran for that purpose, for us to know A to Z about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's for us to recognize who Allah is and what is our role. This is basically what's happening. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ. And Allah gives these parallels, the parables or these examples only for the benefit of humans. Yeah, and thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Inna wallahu bikulli shay'in alim." For Allah has knowledge of all things. Allah does not need these parables. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need these examples, these comparisons. It's only for our benefit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to us in a language which is best understood for us. It will be easy. That's why the Quran is called Quran Mubin. Easy Quran, a clear Quran for us to understand. Yeah, like for example, you will be able to see Tafseer, like read Fakhruddin al-Razi, Ibn Ashur, and so they go some big, they go talks about small one word, yeah, to show their knowledge, to understand or to talk about the depth of things. This is talking about them, but when you read the Quran itself, easy to understand, nothing hard about it. Like the ayah before, yeah, we spend about 10-15 minutes on it to understand, but if you were to read Tafsir and so on, you will be tired just reading it. You will lose your sight of how much has written about it. So Allah speaks in a very easy manner, but it is the people who makes it hard. This is the situation of the people basically. This is their mentality, that they speak in some sort of sophisticated manner. Like you can read the work of PhD guys, yeah. When they don't want to use small words, they will look for the biggest of the words that they can find, the hardest to understand, and that's what they're going to put in their essays and their articles. This is the way of the people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks differently. He speaks to us like a teacher. He wants us to understand. That's why He gives us examples. He is not a person, He is not a being that tells us how much He knows. This is not His way of teaching. Is for us to understand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. That's why we have examples. That's why we have glad tidings. That's why we have talking about Jannah and Jahannam. That's why we have the stories and the accounts of the prophets and so on. So that's why for us to understand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So this is basically the intro to this ayah. And let's go to the ayah itself directly, inshallah. We'll do it quickly. It's a very easy ayah to understand. Inna Allah la yastahi an yadriba mathala. Surely Allah does not shy away to present an example. And here, shy away, inna Allah la yastahi, we do not translate this because this is from the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not shy away. What does it really mean? We don't know. Like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His being is unique. There is no one like Him. Similarly from His attributes, whatever belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we leave it to that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not leave anything. He does not shy away from giving parables. So this is what we understand from this ayah. And now by saying, there's one beautiful thing, yeah. Ma ba'udah. Ma, the mathalam ma. This shows there's like emphasis in here, meaning whatever. Like if you were to tell someone is really hungry. Are you hungry? No. Okay, if someone is really hungry and they come and someone asks him, what would you like? Yeah, and he comes to home, your wife, speaking to the wife and things like that. And what would you like? And his response is shay'an ma, meaning give me whatever, I don't care, give me something that I can eat. Like that kind of way. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not shy away from whatever kind of example. He doesn't. So this is like putting those people in their places. Like don't tell what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should do or should know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give whatever He wants to give from examples. And ma ba'udatan fama fawqaha, that of a mosquito or of something above it. Fawqaha could relate to both things, meaning something inferior than the mosquito or a gnat, yeah? Something inferior than this thing. Like it comes in a hadith, yeah? The example of the dunya is the example of a wing of mosquito. Had it had any value with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He would not have given it to the disbelievers, yeah? So this example has come in another place in the narrations. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give bigger example of the different things. Like it comes of ankabut, what's ankabut? Spider. Allah will give example of donkeys. Allah will give example of camels. Allah will give example whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives. You do not dictate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives example of. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. And those who have believed know that it is the truth from their Lord. So there are two things in here. One, the one who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the other one who seeks the truth. They understand. And in here is very beautiful things that we need to know. That this is the attitude of a Muslim, of a person who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that whatever Allah gave of example, whatever it is, in whatever way it is perfect. It is to the best. It really fits this place. Whether I understand it or I do not understand, whether I understand it right now or do not understand it right now, it does not matter. But whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, it is to the perfection. It is the best. So this is the attitude of a Muslim. Now we look at the attitude of the criminals, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَيَقُولُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا. But as for those who disbelieve, they say, what did Allah intend by this as an example? Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went out of his way to give us these examples. But these people are so ungrateful, so unthankful, that instead of appreciating that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made things easy for them to understand, they raise question over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we need to understand there is a very important point in here, that they're not asking a question. What is this example? They're not saying this. What is this example? But they are saying, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intend by this example? Like, what's this? Like that kind of attitude. They're looking down upon it. They don't want to inquire about it, but they want to put it down, like, why this had to be that kind of attitude. So this is important. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا. But he misleads many thereby and guides many thereby. By this very example, like it is the lenses that you put onto the Quran. How do you come to Quran? Do you come to Quran like a slave, or do you come to Quran like someone who is looking after some knowledge? Yeah, because previously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, min rabbihim. It does not say min Allah. So in here is a hint. You come to Quran like a slave. Min rabbi, from their master, yeah? So if he's a master, you become a slave. You come to Quran and know that whatever of the Quran you are absorbing and learning, it is only and only to please your master. So this is the attitude. And the attitude of a student is basically of that I will listen to this, accept this. If something I don't understand, I'll skip it, throw it to one side. Whatever is pleasing to me, whatever is easy to me, I will hold it on. So this is not the attitude of a Muslim. The attitude of a Muslim is min rabbihim, from their Lord. So he becomes a slave. Whatever it is of the Quran, it is perfect, it is best. Maybe I understand something now, or maybe I don't. But whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said is the best. So this is the attitude that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. But what kind of people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguide? Allah says further, وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ. And he misleads not except the divinely disobedient. So it's not everyone, yeah, that people who are genuinely have any questions, genuinely they don't understand if there is a God or not, yeah, if they have that kind of mentality. It's not these people. It's these people who have become the worst of the worst. A fasiq, basically, for us to understand, is like, we have fruits and they expire. Yeah, you will be able to see from the outside that they have gone. Yeah, like a banana, or if it's like an apple, you'll be able to see some things around it that has become bad. Yeah, like expired. Or sometimes you bite it and it does not taste nice, or there is something in there. This is one. Yeah, this is bad. But a fasiq, when it becomes so bad that the filth from it oozes down, it comes out from it. This is basically a fasiq or fasaq. This is what it is. That these people have become so evil, they have become so corrupt that it's coming out from them. So he's talking about these people. And in the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will explain in more details that who this fasiq is, and Allah will give a proper description of what a fasiq is. From our language, of the language of the ulama, they call fasiq a person who disobeys his parents, who does not pray properly, and so on, who does not give the mahar of the wife, and so on. They are called fasiq. But we're not talking about that kind of fasiq. Fasiq in sight of Allah in here are those people who will not be guided. These are those people who are completely like the scumbag of the society. These are what the fasiq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in these few ayats. Yeah, these are completely opposite of what a Muslim is and what a mu'min is. Because these are those people who, one, they challenge the Quran, then of course they cannot compete with it, thereafter they question the Quran. So these are those kind of people. May Allah make us from those people who understand and who implement the Quran. Wallahu a'lam.